Hey, everybody, and welcome to the first episode of my testimony for each of these movies that have impacted my life, a certain point in my life. So, the first movie we're going to be covering is the 2004 movie Disney Pixar film, The Incredibles. So, this movie came out November 5th, 2004. So this movie came out basically 2 days before I turned 11. So I saw this movie with my whole family, basically for my 11th birthday. We saw it opening night. And back then, movies weren't that expensive. And it wasn't as crowded. Now, well, actually, it was crowded, but I mean, it wasn't expensive. And it was 15 years ago. Isn't that crazy? It's crazy to believe that it's been 15 years since The Incredibles. 15 years too late, as Syndrome would say in the movie. Whatever. Anyway, so when this movie came out, it had a huge impact in my life. The character that I most related to during that period of time in my life was Violet Parr. Her powers are invisibility and force fields. Now, at the time I was in 5th grade, and I didn't have very many friends. I got picked on a lot when I was younger. It's especially between 4th grade and freshman year of high school. Well, actually, no, it actually got worse than that. It didn't stop until I graduated from high school, so thank God. But that was probably really bad because I could really relate to Violet. I didn't have enough confidence in myself like she did. She would always hide under her hair. She was shy. Very, very painfully shy, just like I was. And in situations, I really wanted to turn invisible, like Violet. And sometimes when somebody hurt me, I wanted to have a force field to protect myself. So it was hard for me because, I had friends that abandoned me and laughed at me. So just because I was different. So, and I think after watching this movie for a while, I became a little bit confident. Not so much, but a little bit. I think I was at the point where I could actually stand up to myself, and I did. I remember one time in 7th grade, I had a friend, and we're not friends anymore, actually. She was actually a year or two older than me. She was actually like a freshman in high school, yet she got held back, so she was actually in 8th grade. And I was 13, and she was like 15 or 16 or whatever. And she had a lot of issues, like anger issues, whatever. I remember some of my classmates, the same ones that have picked on me, in elementary school, they made fun of me because I was friends with her. And I stood up to myself. I said, really? Well, at least somebody I'm like, really? Well, at least somebody wants to be her friend. And I'm like, I don't see you guys ever wanting to be friends with anybody else just because they're different than you or whatever. And these were some of the popular kids. And some of them I actually went to school with since kindergarten and 1st grade. So it's like, we used to be friends, but then, we grow apart. And now I'm not really friends with them anymore. I mean, they have their own lives. Most of them are married, whatever. So I look back at that and I'm like, I can't believe how stupid they were and how stupid they are now. Like, good luck. But yeah, seriously. I couldn't believe them back then that they did that. And I could probably see Violet doing that at least once after the movie. Like before Incredibles 2. But yeah. So that's pretty much my testimony. How I got through that was The Incredibles. It just made me feel better about myself knowing that Violet really had an impact on me. I mean, not only was she shy and wanting to turn invisible, she had a couple of tantrum problems, and sometimes I was like that too. Yeah. But anyway, yeah. Actually, I'm sorry to say this, but I'm actually still like that occasionally. When I don't get what I want, I just get so upset. But yeah. So anyway, I found an article and I kind of wanted to read this to you. So yeah, so this is let's see here. This article was made, I think, a long time ago. But yeah, I'm going to read it to you. It says, life lessons we can learn from The Incredibles. It's been over a decade since The Incredibles first hit the theaters, and it has become one of the most loved Disney movies ever since. While we were still waiting for its confirmed sequel, so this article was probably made right after they announced the movie. For now, let's just revisit the movie, enjoy watching it, and learn valuable lessons from it along the way over and again. Don't look back. Don't look back. It distracts from the now. Edna Mode. Edna Mode teaches us of this important lesson. Although she had made mistakes in the past when designing previous superhero costumes, which resulted in the death of many of those individuals, Edna did not let these mistakes discourage her and hold her back from what she loved to do. Rather, she learned from the past and used it to become better at her job. That's actually good. Family comes first. The entire movie was about the Parr family doing whatever it took to save one another. They had to make sacrifices, learn to work together, and although they argued at times, they never gave up on each other. Never discount anyone's ability. Jack was a prime example of this lesson. He was the youngest of the Parr family and didn't seem to have any powers. Yet. So his family underestimated ability to help. However, at the end of the movie, Jack was the one who saved his family, showing that he actually had more than one superpower. Even though someone may seem insignificant, everyone was put here for a reason, and we all have different abilities. Exactly. The importance of honesty. At the beginning of the movie, Mr. Incredible lied to his family about being a superhero again. Although he had good intentions, he caused a lot of tension and pain within his family. If we would have told the truth from the beginning, he could have avoided all of this. Yeah, that's very true. Don't be afraid to take a risk. It's easy to do the safe thing, to not take risks or try something new, but sometimes doing the hard thing can lead to the greatest reward. It would have been easy for Mr. Incredible to stay at his boring but safe job, but he chose to challenge himself and take a risk by becoming a superhero again. And in the end, this was the best thing for him and his family. Yep. Because basically, it's something that he loved to do, so sometimes your weaknesses can become your greatest strengths. Oh, okay, so we're going to be talking about Violet here. An example of this is Violet. She always felt invisible and unconfident, but when she began to use her invisibility as an advantage, she began to embrace her, or when she began to embrace her powers, she became a more confident and happier person. Another example is Mr. Incredible. He was called weak for not being able to kill, but his compassion was what made him a true superhero. I like that. So that's pretty much it for the first episode. The next movie that I'm going to be talking about is Frozen. And now I don't know if I've mentioned this or not, but I'm going to be talking about each of these movies in order of how it impacted my life. So basically, this movie started when I was only 10, going to be 11 years old. So I was a preteen. I was between the ages of child and growing into a teenager, puberty age. So The Incredibles really was a good movie for my age range back then, because I really admired Violet. So she was the person that I admired back then, and I think if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be the person I am today. I wouldn't have grown and stood up to myself back in 7th grade if it wasn't for her. So, yep. And I'll never forget that I also in 7th grade we had a spirit week, and we had a Disney day, and I remember I dressed up like Violet. Now that was fun. Yep, I'll never forget that, because it's like, because of her impact on me, and that was only 2 years after the movie came out. That was 2006, and because of that impact, because of the impact I had on her, or the lessons that I learned from her, I became a more, at least, confident person back then. I mean, she was still shy. I was still shy. That's just part of me. I mean, I was socially awkward, just like Violet. So yeah, I mean, we grow, and eventually I hope to get over it. I mean, you think, well, you're 26 now. Shouldn't you have gotten over it by now? No, there are people older than me that still haven't even gotten over their issues. So believe me, it takes time. You're never too young. You're never too old to get over yourself. Get over some issues. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.